jazz guitar friends, Larry Tamanini here. Jazz guitar under 5 minutes. With me as always, my partner in crime, Hershey the dog. We've got a couple of great walks in. It's a lovely day here in Bucks County. Now it's time for jazz guitar, right? Just heard me comping through one of my favorite standards, Beautiful Love. Sort of like Autumn Leaves backwards, right? Great tune for guitar as well, especially in that key. And I'm here to give you 2 tips to help your comping out. Times 10, right? Love that. It's been really going well ever since I've been using that in my videos. All right, check it out. The 2 things that I'm going to talk about, pretty simple, right? One is common tone. One is voice leading. People talk about comping and they say the secret is to listen. Okay, well, you're going to have to give the soloist something because accompany, compose, complement, all part of the comp umbrella, right? So let's not just be reactionary. You never want to be the kind of comper that just tries to mimic what the soloist is doing. That's like Peter Pan running away from his shadow. Get the hell out of my way. Give the soloist something to play under. Check it out. Common tones and voice leading. All right, so you heard me play Beautiful Love. So the first idea is common tone. And you have this minor 2/5 in the key of D minor, right? What I like to do is I kept the, melody note on top. I also changed the voicing to keep the A on top. I played an A7 sharp 5. And then what I ended up doing here is played that D minor with the A on top, and I also went to that D minor. Check it out. Here it is in game speed. Keeping that common tone, but going from an octave up is it's really not an octave up. It's just a voicing, right? It kind of sounds like it's an octave up, but that's the trick of the guitar, right? I still had the A on top, but it definitely is going to give the soloist something to play under. All right, the next little idea I had was voice leading. And, you don't have to be like a classical composer with your voice leading. You have easy ideas. The strongest idea is a chromatic idea. The next part of that song is a G minor, C, 2/5 and F, right? What I ended up doing is playing this on top, and I went from a C13 to another, there's that sharp 5 sound again, but it's a nice little chromatic sound, right? I think I quoted Phase Dance too. All right, so that 8 bars is going to encompass both those ideas. You kind of have this A on top, right? In a couple different areas. Just because you're stuck on one, you have a common note that you're shooting for doesn't mean you can't move it to another string. You're not married to that string. The next idea is pretty much just like, what did I have a larger voice leading with? Right? Major second from that E minor 11 to regular E minor. There are all those pretty alter tones. And then sort of have the voice on top there. What I tried to do here is give you three G minors, right? Again, to break it up. Give the soloist something. Play your guitar. Don't just camp out in the low end, because you'll get in somebody's way at some point. When you talk about listening to a soloist, you kind of want to get out of their bandwidth sometimes, is what I would interpret that as. Because again, I don't want to listen to someone and then copy them, because then you're just getting in their way. Accompanying is all like passing someone a ball. You want to set them up. If you're doing what they're doing, you're probably going to just get in the way, and then you're going to need a comptroller to get in there, right? And you don't want the comptroller to get in. So check it out. 2 things that are really going to help your comp out. Number 1 is just common tones, right? This time I have a G on top, and then you kind of can voice lead it. Put a nice little line on top. A nice little thing that you can also do is mark the form. Just because you're not a drummer doesn't mean you don't have to think like a drummer. mark that form going into that B section. And then have the voice go up, right? It all depends on your imagination and how much of the guitar you have under your fingers. All right, jazz guitar friends, I only had 5 minutes. I hope you got something out of it. Hey, if you could get something out of 5 minutes, imagine what an hour lesson would do. Slots are available. And if you made it this far, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Really helps. Thanks for hanging out. Bebop.